Blessings. This is Shamanic Web Priestess here. And I wanted to make this video for so long, but we were doing 29 days of melanated excellence, and I had to make sure I got my 29 videos out there, okay? But this video is really something that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time, because this is a question that I get asked like a million times throughout the time that I've been having my channel and things like that. And it's a question that I get all the time. And whether it's tarot related, which this video is going to be about something else, this is going to be specifically about the ATRs, okay? And so African traditional religions, for those of you that are new to my video, I am a mixed race person. So I'm Black and Native American from the Caribbean, both from Puerto Rico and Haiti. And so mostly Black on my mom's side and Native on my dad's side. So Taino, Arawak. And Arawak religions and the ATRs, African traditional religions, are what we call closed traditions, okay? Closed traditions. And one of the questions that I get all the time is, what are good sources and books and things like that for me to get started? And that's always a hard question for me to answer. So I thought I would just make a video today and kind of just address that and things of that nature and kind of touch on that. So first and foremost, a disclaimer on here, I am not a book spiritualist. So what that means is, the knowledge that I have about my spirituality isn't something that I've gotten from books. It is a lived experience. It is a passed down tradition from family, godparents, all that beautiful stuff. So let's start with closed traditions. So people are probably like, what is a closed tradition? So unlike Christianity, let's say, we're looking at different religious practices. So unlike Christianity, that's an open tradition. When I was Pentecostal, when I was, part of fundamentalist religious practices, we were told that you should go, door to door and spread the good news and talk about Jesus and all these things. And so a common misconception that I have, a lot of people, they think because they practice closed traditions, they're supposed to be announcing those things and telling their family members and go shout it to the mountains and all these things, because we're so excited. We're working with these new deities, we're being uplifted, we're opening up our minds and leaving colonization, and we're practicing the religions of the ancestors. And that's really exciting. But no, one of the first things about practicing a close tradition is their practice in secret. Our spirits do not require us, nor do they want us to shout it to the mountains. Orula is a very jealous Orisha. Like, he does not like people to tell his secrets. A lot of the Orishas are like that. One of the first things you do when you initiate is you have to swear to secrecy. You're not allowed to give out the misterios and the secrets in an open forum. So let's go with the definition of closed tradition. So closed traditions, this is the meaning of a closed tradition, are traditions that are passed down by direct personal contact. Okay, direct personal contact, usually by new generations being raised to them by their parents. So usually it's an elder, so a parent, grandparent, great-grandparent. That's what a closed tradition is. It's an oral tradition that is directly passed down through family. It's why I always say it's a heritage. It's a tradition. Same thing, closed traditions like Native American spirituality, ATRs. These are traditions that are created by indigenous people, for indigenous people, and it's passed down orally. Okay, it's passed down orally by personal contact to the new generation by a parent or elder. Okay, and these people were raised in these traditions, okay? They were raised in these traditions. And so the new generation is being raised in this tradition, okay? And in some cases, you have a teacher, okay, that teaches you, okay? So if you don't have a family member Some people are called into these closed traditions, they'll have a teacher. But it does not change the fact that the traditions are passed down in person, okay? Passed down in person. In some cases, if you're someone outside of the traditions, right, they can have you adopted into the spiritual family, aka godparents, mentors, okay? When you are taking on students, when you are taking on godchildren, okay, as the person who's initiated into the traditions, you are in essence adopting new people into your family. So just like a parent is responsible for the actions of their children, a godparent is responsible for their actions of their godchildren. And so it is up to the godparent to teach the student. It doesn't matter about age. The godparent could be younger than the godchild. But in spirituality, you're a baby, like you're learning. You know what I mean? A year and a day with this student, with your godparents. They're teaching you things. Initiation is last, is the ceremony, but the process of initiation is the learning part. Someone taking you under their wing and teaching you. Okay. In some cases, you can marry into a tradition. So you'll have like a spouse that's an initiate that teaches the wife. Okay. That happens. Okay. These are guarded, closed traditions and tend to be passed down by personal contact and limited. So they don't accept just any outsiders of a closed tradition. So that's when people ask me what books, there really aren't any books. Because when you are initiated into a closed tradition, okay, you're not supposed to break your vows to the spirits. So people that write books, they're writing very limited knowledge. They're writing the books in the perspective of a non-initiate, if there's someone who's initiated. So if someone's like, I'm initiated, I'm gonna write a book. We are very limited into what we can actually publish in a written work, okay? Because of the fact that mass amounts of people are going to have access to the book. So they're giving you like basic knowledge, but they're not going in depth because 70% of the practice is supposed to be in secret. So they're giving you some things. They're infusing their own ideas, but they're not giving you like the traditional foundational knowledge because, again, they're not allowed to. Then you have people that write books that don't have anything to do with the traditions, and they're just trying to make money. And those books are full of a lot of misinformation. And that's why I don't recommend books, because the books that I've had access to, there's like 30% accurate information and 70% inaccurate information. Sometimes it's 50-50. And so if you didn't grow up in the traditions and you don't have that discernment, you're not going to know which is fact and fiction, which is factual and which is not, which is true and which is false. And so that's why I'm very careful, because one thing I don't want to do is mislead a large group of people into falsehoods. YouTube is not always a good source either, because if you listen to some people's video, they'll say like, I feel like I don't need to get initiated. And they start inventing their own traditions. They start appropriating and making things up. And that is dangerous too, because now you're kind of making things up. And these are traditions for a reason, you know. Just like you don't see Native Americans sitting there broadcasting their rituals on YouTube and giving all their secrets from their practice. That's the same idea with the ATRs. We're not supposed to be sitting here and altar tours and all that stuff. People that usually do that is because they're not initiated into anything. Or if they're showing you their altars, most of the time the altars they're showing you aren't their real actual working altars. They're showing you like a demonstration purposes, that type of thing. So you have to be careful. You have to be careful. I do not show, like I've showed a temporary altar one time and I did a prayer, but that's not a permanent altar. That was because I was doing a fegede. That was a temporary setup. But you guys have never seen my real permanent working altars on my channel. You know, other than the white altar, you have not seen. You know, you've seen me do a mock altar, that kind of thing. Like when I did a tour of my hallway altars, those are temporary altars for certain holidays. But my permanent altar, other than my reading space, my shrines to my spirits, places that I cast spells or do workings or rituals, I don't show that on video because we're not supposed to, because we take vows of secrecy, just like they do with secret societies like Freemasonry and things like that, because there is power in these secrets. So there is no shortcut. There are no books that are going to teach you authentic Santeria or Ifa or any of that. It's going to take you to find a teacher and be willing to put in the time and the financial money into it. And like I always say, if that's not the place you're at now, if this is really something that calls to you, the money will come. Because that happened to me. When I tried to rush it, it didn't work out. When it was the right time, I had my mother and I had my godparents, and there was the right time, and I found my house and I'm in a good place. And there's other things I'm going to be doing, other initiations and all of that, things that I want to do personally before I take on such a big responsibility of me having godchildren, you know? So yeah, so basically there's no easy shortcut. These are closed traditions that are passed down person to person. When I started to see there was a need on YouTube, people trying to find community, people trying to find the knowledge, it's the reason why I gave out classes the whole last year. I was giving out non-stop classes. Once one class would finish, I would start another, then another. There was times I was giving 2 classes at once because there was such a need. And the way that I gave the classes was I wrote a book that's only for my students, because again, I'm teaching a closed tradition. I'm never planning to publish this book for everybody, for the public. This book is specifically only for people that are going to invest time, effort, the finance, that really are serious about wanting to learn from someone. And so I make that book accessible to them, and we study together, that kind of stuff. I made a video series specifically for this class. It's not available to anyone from that's a subscriber. You have to actually be part of the class. And I do one-on-one instruction. Why? Because it is similar to the way that I learned. It's in person through Skype, but it's still in person. You're seeing me, I'm seeing you. You're asking questions. It's an active class versus just, hey, read this chapter, see you later. No, I wanted to make it as authentic experience as possible, because that is the way that it's done. That's the way that it's done. You have a teacher that teaches you directly, and that's something that I offer in my classes, because I like it to be authentic. I had people that were sitting down with me, you know, and through the phone or in person or whatever. That's how I learned. I learned by doing, and I learned hands-on, and that's what I try to offer my students in my classes. Which, speaking of my classes, they're going to be available. They're going to be available. In July of 2021. So I just emailed everybody. If you didn't get an email, no worries. You can go after watching this video to my website and purchase your spot for my upcoming classes. There's a mentorship classes. It's 7 weeks of one-on-one instruction with me, video series, reading, literature, all that beautiful stuff. So it's amazing, and people that's taken it love it. So I'm doing it one last time this year. This will be the only time and the last time I'm doing it, because I'm moving on to a more advanced class. So that's like the second part of this class that I'm giving. And I'm specifically creating other classes. So I have other workshops I want to do, which are a little bit shorter, and I want to do those in the fall of this year. So before this year is over. So look out for that. I'm thinking during the school break next year, so around Christmas break, you know, another, like that kind of thing. So look out for that. I have like 2 or 3 workshops in mind, and as all my workshops and classes space is limited, I will no longer be taking payment plans like I did in previous classes, because too many people will forget to pay, and I had to constantly remind them. And yes, most did pay, but it was after, you know, constantly reminding. Some people kind of really good at keeping track of it, but there was a large group that did not. And then some people didn't make the payment, so they weren't able to take the class. And that's just a headache, because you took somebody else's spot, right? And that's not fair. So just to make it easier, it's just going to be the money. If you're going to take the class, you have to pay it in full, and things of that nature. So first come, first serve. The price is there. The class description, everything is in my website. So shamanicarawakpriestess.com. You click on the store and you will see my Hoodoo courses 2021. So I'm excited about that. So, with that being said, there are like two books that when I first made my channel, and more than one occasion, I have recommended. Even though not everything in this book I agree with, just to let you know, there is some sexism in this book and all of that. But there's some really cool and accurate information when it comes to the Orishas in this book. It has some prayers in Yoruba, which I think are excellent if you actually want to pray to the spirits in their own native tongue, and things of that nature. So this book, the Handbook of Yoruba Religious Concepts. So this talks more about Ifa. So if you're wanting to learn Santeria, this is not Santeria. This is Ifa, where the ATRs stem from when it comes to any type of Orisha veneration. So you can get this book and you can learn how to pray to the Orishas and different herbs and all that kind of stuff. So it's good. Again, I don't agree. I agree about 80% of the stuff. 20% I don't, but it's a good book. This book I love. Florencio Guevara, Mesa Blanca, the White Altar. If you're trying to learn how to do ancestral veneration with the Mesa Blanca, it teaches you the setup. It teaches you the practices of it. Sorry for the glare. It's amazing because I remember when I talk about Spiritismo, the author actually contacted me from the book. He was like very happy that I actually announced him in the book. I love his book. I'm planning to get another book that he did. Like he did another book, like a follow-up, I believe, or something separate, but I am going to be getting that book in the future and reviewing it. So this is authentic. He also translated a lot of the prayers. Every time I use the prayer that he has in this book, I always reference this book because I like to give credit to where credit's due. He did translate the Castaway Prayer to Yemaya, which I find beautiful, always makes me emotional. So love his book. Very, very good. Like I reference him all the time. So yeah, and you see like I have little tabs because there's some good stuff in there. So those are like the only two. There's like another book that one of my clients told me about, but I haven't read it, so I can endorse it in my channel. But yeah, like I really haven't found anything that I'm like, oh yes, this is great, because again, a lot of books I find like to confuse hoodoo and voodoo and santeria and put it all together, and you could do whatever you want, and they're goddesses and new age and Wicca and all this stuff, and it's like that's not tradition, you're making it up. Or again, you have people that do write stuff, but the knowledge is very limited because they can't really give too much information. So that's why I'm saying, like, if you really want to practice authentically, like, nothing's going to be better than actually learning from a direct person. And I know some people are like, oh, that's a lot of money or blah 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 blah, but it's a closed tradition. You're not really going to get the real information from books for the most part, so that's just how it is. Traditionally, the elders pass the knowledge. That's just how it goes, and I always tell people, like, if it's really your calling, like, the money will be there, like it will just come. Like rituals that I've had to invest in, the money was there when I needed it, like, you know what I'm saying? Even when I thought I wanted to do it sooner, sometimes you just have to wait in spirit. That's just, so don't get discouraged. And hopefully you like this video. If you want to work with me on a one-on-one basis, shamanic@priestess.com. I do psychic readings, so predictive readings, all that beautiful stuff. In time sessions, you have an hour, 45 minutes, 30 minutes, 22 minutes, and 15-minute sessions. I also do spiritual ritual consultation, which are required before I would do any type of working on your behalf. And I also give, spirit message readings, which are just messages from your spirit guides, deities, things like that, to help you and guide you. I do energetic readings, past life readings, spiritual court investigations, all that beautiful stuff. And now I'm going to be doing classes in July. So much love, much light, much blessings. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. And until the next video, I'm like really excited. Really excited about all these wonderful changes that are coming. So like I'm excited about it. But anyways, much love and light. Bye, guys. Bye.